All right. Are we live? Mm. All right, it looks like we are live. So, hello everybody. Welcome in this new episode of Juno Live. Yeah, I hope everyone is all right. I hope there is no technical issue with the video stream as usual. And yeah, so today we can continue what we started last week, developing a new application using Juno. But before doing that, I've developed two new features that I wanted to showcase. It's not like huge features, but it's like two cool new features that I've developed that are not yet live. That will be part of the next release because I still have to write the documentation. But yeah, so that was the idea. So I'm gonna start my local development environment, right? Okay. So when I develop locally, I basically use the same setup as you can use when you deploy a satellite locally. It's a bit tweaked, by the way, for Juno. So just telling that for information. There in the Docker project, there is actually somewhere, I guess, there should be two. We have the module and so on. We have the Docker file, and that Docker takes either the satellites or the console as parameter and build two different images. So if we go here, we see that we have like one Juno satellite is the one that you can use to develop locally, and Juno console is the one I use when I develop the console. Anyway, that was not my what I've developed. It just as an info. So you see here I've got like the console locally, you know that. And the first things I added newly is, let's go in that one, is here on the overview page, I've added like an hosting link, which basically just take one of the, if you have configured multiple custom domain, it's gonna take the first custom domain and display it here. So that way you don't have always to go to hosting to find your link or whatever. You can just come here and have the first link. So just here that's not gonna work. That's not because locally I don't have everything to set up that, but you see here I've got the custom domain that is set, and here now I got the custom domain. So I can maybe beautiful that a bit more because it should not be that shortened. But then, yeah, it's a non-D link and could be more clever, but as a start, it's just gonna start with the first link. And then what I also implemented is now, you remember here, so I'm gonna go in production, for example. Let's take this one. You see here we have the status with running, the teracycles remaining, the memory it has, the daily idle consumption, and so on. Here I've got the monitoring metrics, which I don't have locally because nothing work, the monitoring doesn't run locally. But you can notice that now here I've added those information here. So there's our information about the queries that are made to that satellite. So here I see that I had like 1K calls as query, that there was like 50 million transactions and so much request in terms of data were exchanged and so much responses. So yeah, just like it's metrics coming from the internet computer. So I just query the IC and displays this information. I've also renamed that in Insight instead of nothing, because I actually updated the style so that every box has always a title. So not gonna change a lot, but I don't know, see there is always like a title everywhere. So not a biggie, but just as info. And then you also notice that here now it's gonna be called settings instead of previously called controllers. So I did that because that way we see which one is one. You see controllers, settings, because there is more now than just the controllers. If I go to settings here, you see that there is now a new panel which provide various settings for the satellites, but it's gonna be the same for the mission control. You're also gonna have this information, and it's also gonna be the same for the analytics. You're gonna have also, of course, here it's auto setup, but you're gonna also have this new box with the these setups. And those information comes also from the IC. So I guess that if we go to the documentation, somewhere we should find the freezing threshold. So I still have to do the documentation. So I will try to put everything together. And oh man, it's so complicated to find something. Where is that documented? Managing canister, managing canister. I don't know if we got more information here. Not really. Yeah, so it's a bit dumb if I cannot. I would like to explain what it is, but find where it is in the documentation. Initial interface overview. That sounds good, right? All right, so here we have it. Okay. So a canister is considered frozen whenever the IC estimates that the canister would be deputed cycles, freezing cycles, second pass, given that the occurs and so on. So basically, by per default, the freezing threshold is 30 days, and the canister use it to get to know when you will reach a point of no return, basically. That's so convenient. So anyway, then we have the reservoir cycle limits, is the cycles that can be used. Like you will also see when it tries to do an operation, if you can set an amount of space that it requires. There is the log visibility. The logs are those you can find here in function. You got the logs. So here I don't have much error, but if, for example, we take one such as propose a network, here I should have some error, I guess, all these logs that are triggered. So you can define if just you, the controllers of the satellites, can see that, or if everybody. You can also set a memory limit in heap. So on Juno, the new satellites, the recent since last release, have 1 giga of limit, and those previous don't have a limit. But the CLI, when you do a deploy, kind of enforce one giga. So it's the CLI that checks the size, say, you can go over, and so on. But that's really like it's like a hard limit. That means that if you reach 1 giga, then you cannot add more data. And here it's useful because we are still in that area where the max is 4, and we know that if you want to migrate a canister with the heap safely, we should kind of use 1 giga generally. And memory allocation and compute allocation allow you to reserve also memory, and computation is more in percent, I think. Yeah, you can reserve an amount of resource you need to make changes or update calls and so on. It's a bit vague, but I will document that with some examples like meaningful. Anyway, so we have those, and maybe one might say, no, but for me, I want really like a big freezing threshold or a smaller one, or I want to reserve so much cycles or have like a slightly slower heap memory. So I've added a function edit here, and you can, yeah, of course it's edit, so you can edit your value. So let's I'm just gonna put like E3, and then here I'm gonna put like a 2, and then we submit, and that's it. Then you have your values that are updated. Oh, I've put like really a low heap memory. I'm gonna add a 0, and so maybe, I mean, those settings gonna work best by default, but depending of what type of project you have, you might want to tweak those. And at some points, when we might want also to have like a bigger freezing threshold than 30 delays for the mission control, given that that's the canister that we really want to be always alive. And yeah, so we got those here, and it's also thought, yeah, but it would be also nice to be able to set those values with the CLI. So what I did is in the Juno config file, there is a new settings. That's optional. Huh? You can, it's backward compatible, no worries. But you can set up all this value we have just seen. So we have the freezing threshold, reserve cycle, log visibility, and so on and so on. And similar to the other configuration that we have in the CLI, if you want to execute that, project open source cycles, right? You're gonna do a Juno config, okay? Now, before I run this function, if you have updated your CLI today, so npm e if you have run that today, you might have already noticed it, but if not, you might notice today that if you run a command like deploy to, the CLI gonna prompt you about encrypted your configuration. So locally, the CLI has a JSON file that contains the list of satellites you have and so on, but also the token that is used to connect to your satellite and that you has whitelisted as a controller when you do Juno login. And while it's safe to have the file in the application preferences folder, you might want to have some extra security and provide like a password to encode the file. So it's optional. So if you answer no, then you're not gonna be prompted, because what gonna do the CLI is the CLI gonna have like another configuration file where in the configuration file is gonna be written if your preferences is with or without security. But if you say yes, then here I just gonna do like a password, but yeah, please choose a more complicated password than just what I type. And then the first time you're gonna ask you a second time to execute the command, but then every time you for example, if you do Juno version, then the CLI gonna ask you what's your password to read the file. And if we you see, if we go in the and I try to read that JSON file, you see it's a binary and I cannot decode it. So yeah, it's a nice added level of security. And yeah, so that's it for the new things. Like, I will continue to pack a few other things before doing a release, but that's already some I hope some nice small additional tools that are still easy to check out, right? Okay. And of course, when I got the documentation, I'm gonna link that when I create the release. Okay, so if there is no question, I close my browser and let's continue with what we had last week. So, what was the name of the project that we created already? Oh, that was Juno calendar, right? Okay. And where did I save that? Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna close this, close that, and we're gonna open our project, right? And as far as I remember, sorry, I'm gonna zoom in, that way we see a bit better what we do. Juno dev start dev. Okay, we are good. So what do we have? Okay, we were here, right? We are able to sign in, I think. And we add that, yeah, exactly. We add the ability to enter a name, a date, but that's where we stand. And as far as I remember, we did not add yet, yeah, it's empty. But the way I can rename that data store. So, all right. So, did we document that here? No. Here. Yes. All right. So that's our wonderful schema anyway. So we have done the sign in, and now we want to schedule the events. And to schedule multiple dates, I would have to improve that UI. So let's do that later. What I suggest that we want to do is that we want to, yeah, let's start easy. We can always iterate with the backend. So I suggest that we create a collection, yeah, and that collection will contain event, and each event which contains a list of dates. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's do that, and yeah, let's start like this. All right, so okay. So blah 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 blah. We have the modal, and the modal is here, right? And on change, blah blah blah, loading, show modal, close, and here we have our add form. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to save in a new collection. So we're gonna create a collection name. What do we know? Plural or singular? Let's do plural. Events. That's gonna be unstable, and we're gonna give read. So I want other to be able to read the dates, huh? Right? Okay, but I don't want them to write in it. So yeah, let's make read public and write managed. That way other people can read the date, but only me can change the dates. And just in case we made something wrong. Okay, did something is missing? Ah, I guess it's because of TypeScript. Okay, better. All right. So now, if everything works alright, okay, our satellite is configured. So now that we have set the collection events, what we're gonna do is here, we're gonna define a type, right? What's that use? Okay. So let's call it, it's gonna be one event, but one event gonna be conflicting. So I just don't want to use event because that sounds like a reserved keyword, you know? So so we're gonna just call it Juno event because no, but let's call it, that's the data, right? So let's call it event data. Okay, and in the event data, to get started, we're gonna have, that's gonna be an array of date, right? And so that's gonna be events data. That's gonna be an event, and that's gonna be the proposed date. It's always difficult. Naming is hard, so let's call it dates. And I don't want to persist the date object in the because that's not gonna work, because date object needs to be serialized. So let's use numbers. That way we can always use date.now something dot now dot get time. Okay, and yeah, let's start like that. So in the collection, that's so here we're gonna have event data in the collection events with a key. I use nano ID, and here do we have a date? I think so. Selected date, right? Okay. So what did I say now? Dates. Okay, that's gonna be. Oh, what did I do? Okay. So here we want to have date. Selected date. What does it say? Get time, huh? Yes. And I don't want that. So of course, in a real life application, we would probably catch that and display an error. So we're just gonna do assert. I don't have that yet here. So I'm gonna do if 555 and define it, puff, return, and here we're just gonna add a to do on the errors, right? Okay, so here we do a set doc with a tac, and we get the dates. And here in the table, I have like a global listener, and this will list the events. So here I got all my events, and it's gonna be all my events. That's a good question. I think so. And here we have the data that are the items, and here in the items we want to remove this, and here we're gonna have a data, so we're gonna do, so that's gonna be a number, right? So new date. Uh-huh. So so yeah. So here we want for each item dot data dot, what did I do? Dot dates. Did I do something? As my date, right? And here we're gonna have, let's do like that, right? So okay, so here I still have the submit button that should be enabled. Here we have disabled if not valid, valid input text. selected date. All right, so okay, that's unfortunate. On change. Okay, better, huh? Party. Okay, so here we have a party. All right, so you see we are able to save. Of course, then we need something way more fancy, like being able to add more dates and time and stuff. But yeah, I mean that's a start, right? Okay. So now I'm able to enter dates. Okay, here. Okay, what I want to do is being able to share that link with other people, right? So actually here I deleted something interesting, I think. Yeah, here there was a link, right? So this deal. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a commit, set up events collection, and where was I here? And here we're gonna, so for each date we want to have a link. So what we're gonna do, what was event data? So we're gonna call that event event cell. Wow, it's not my idea in terms of so here we're gonna receive the event doc. Okay. Good. And here we're gonna get the, my gosh, event data. Okay. And here, oopla, because I don't want to hold that in my copy paste too long. And here we're gonna have this, right? Here we're gonna do event cell. Yes. Tac. Data. That's the doc. Doc. Event doc. Huh? I think I called it here. Actually, so here for each document. Okay. So that's even simpler. So here event doc equals item. Okay. Yes, not too bad. There. Okay. So what we did is like, yeah, for each document, blah, 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 we're gonna use that component. So in that component, we want to display the dates as we did before, and we're gonna want to display a link. So let's start with the display date. So to do that, we gonna do a display date. Let's call it like that. It's gonna be a string. And here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna derive event doc data dates, and here, because I just gonna oversimplify it, but we're gonna take the first one and we're gonna do a to iso string. That was right. Does that work? What does he say? Okay. It's a number. I'm dumb. So we want to have two, so we do a display class flex, and first maybe that's an output. Yeah. All right. And next to it, we want to have like a link. So the link, what we're gonna do? Should we use a query param? Yeah, why not? So, and something like the URL question mark event equals blah 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 the ID, event ID, event. Yeah, such an important question. So let URL be a string. Gonna even call it share URL. Share URL equals do like that. Okay. And what do you say? Event. Yeah, event, it's fine. And we're gonna use event doc ID. Key, sorry. Okay. And then we want something like this. Okay. Comment. Okay. Yeah, that was really useful. Take that. Remove this, and let's put that. And okay. So share event link. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So here now, if we go to the, that's a bit ugly, but yeah, I mean, it's life. Yeah, it's not super elegant, but here, if I copy it, then we have those events, right? Okay. So yeah. So here I'm gonna do share URL, and I got the format here. Also gonna go format, and I'm gonna push that. Okay. Now, so what we want to do is, if I logged out and come with this URL, when I sign in, let's do that here. Let's say I'm another user. So I send that to my friend. Oh, actually, wouldn't be that cool that I don't have to sign in to see the dates. Like if I do the doodle, I don't have to sign in. It's just like at the end, I have to sign in. So maybe I don't even want my friends to sign in. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if it makes sense, but so maybe we can share maybe the link to another page, and that page is public. That can be cool. So then we have two layouts, one where I have to sign in and where when I don't have to sign in. I like that. I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm in. So here we're gonna do share. We're gonna call that event. So yeah, on here we're gonna call this one key. And then here in the roots, what do I have here? Blah blah blah. Yeah, I got that. So we're gonna do a bit of svelte routing. So we're gonna have a layout that requires an authentication. So we're gonna call it app. And we're gonna have a layout that is public. So we're gonna call it, guess what? Public. And then, what's that? Yeah. In the app, we need the authentication, which is like the guard that I've wrote that if user is sign in, you display logout and blah blah login. So yeah, I don't know if, let's see if it makes sense at the end, but so here we're gonna have that, okay? And here we have slot, and here in public we're gonna have like this. And then here, that page, what do we have? Modal, what's modal? Ah, yeah. And what's table? Yeah. So this page here, gonna move here. Because the page here, we have the modal, we can tip stuff. Okay, so just to be sure that my changes are live, yeah, I still have the sign in button. Now here in the, what? All right. In the public, we're gonna add that page which we called event, right? And here that's YOLO and public. If I go to, so here I'm gonna sign in again. I should have the content. I get the link and I send the link to my friend, and my friend open the link and my friend has, yeah, all right, so that's good. Right, so now what we want to do is we want to be able to get that key, so we have to map it. So I don't like to reinvent the wheel, so I'm gonna go, how do I do that? Yeah, you see we have a page, so I take that page here, and here we not gonna have this, of course, because yeah, so utils, nav utils, and all right, and that's what we need. So we're gonna do the same, right? So here I'm gonna create a utils package, and I'm gonna create that nav utils, right? And here we're gonna take this, which is not super pretty, but that doesn't matter. Root that is that. Alright, so I take this there, and we're gonna call that load root event key, yeah, event key, right? So we're gonna control this, that, super, and here that's gonna be root key, right? Key, and key here, this one is this one. So root key, bim bam boom. That's just for server-side rendering, since we don't have it like when I do npm run build, I don't want an error. We don't need this. Here the name is key, and we return key, right? Wonderful. And here okay, we have that. And now, so that's super now. So that means that every time we do this, we have a route that gonna returns the key here, but we still need to read that in the code. So I think I should probably derive that stuff somewhere. So that's all my router and blah blah blah. Okay. So that's not too bad. Page if page type. Okay. So we already, oh, beautiful. And we're gonna call that page.derived.ts and stick that, and I explain. Okay, so page is a store from Svelte that provides you all the information you have in the page. And here we're gonna check if the data that I come, those contain that keys, and if not, I return undefined. If we do have it, then I return the key, and that's the, let's call it key store. I don't know. Let's call it event key. Let's call it like that. Okay. I'm just gonna print out to show you, and here in the page, gonna cancel it too. Okay, so if we check here, you see, because I have that page.ts, that takes the query parameter and returns it in an object, then Svelte does some magic and parse that into the page store object of Svelte, and I can get it in the data so that at the end I've got my key, right? Okay, so okay. Okay, and what we want to do now is in that page here, so we want a function to load the event. Okay, I should put that in a service, but yeah, let's code it like that. And here what we're gonna do is each time that change, because maybe it changed, maybe it becomes null, maybe indefinite, maybe the user just changed the URL in the navigation bar, right? So here what we're gonna do is we want to load, we want to do a get doc because we know the ID, right? So it's gonna be what is called that? What did I use before? Event doc, doc event. Here it's item event doc, doc event data, right? And this can be undefined. So if event key undefined, then event, oh, that's a bad name. Doc event, I said, huh? Right? Event doc, yeah. Otherwise, of course, we should do it way more cleaner, but no, doc. And then we got to get doc, okay. And here, event data. Nah, come on. It's not event data. So we have collection, which is events, and the key is our key, right? And why doesn't work? What's wrong? Oh yeah. All right. And here what we have is like, we're gonna have a div. No, let's go like this. Tac, 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 tac. So if yeah, if we want to do that nicely, we should have like a loader and so on. But let's just do like barbarian right now. So if event doc undefined, okay. If we want to, that's a div, yeah. Let's go really barbarian and do event cell. Come on. And here we're gonna have event doc. Okay. No, so, that's good. So what happens here is that we are coming here, and then here we try to do a get doc, but the library tells me, yeah, but did you initialize Juno? Because I don't know where to call. And that's because when I move those stuff here, I move the auth, and in the auth, no, where do I have that? Oh. It's like here, it comes and it says that's not initialized. That's surprising. Okay, let's try again. So here, just gonna commit that so that we have a point. Get doc public, and it's a race condition. I love it. But that's a good example. You see here, so you see, I come first here, then it tries to get the doc, but actually in the main layout, the initialize setup is not done. So I'm like trying to access Juno while Juno is not yet loaded. So we're gonna solve this. Initialize blah blah blah. So I just gonna make maybe like so here I'm gonna do an app store, and I'm gonna do I'm gonna add initialized store or app. Ah no, let's call it app state store. No, that's ugly. App whatever. App state. Let's call it like that. It's really not my day too. So it's gonna be either initialized or undefined. Okay. So we got that, and here we're gonna put that, right? And here we're gonna put app state dot set initialized. And what we're gonna do is, yeah, really, there could be more beautiful way to solve that. Eh? So we're just gonna add state here, and yeah, let's do two different state and define it. I'm gonna do the same, right? Okay, and now we have it. So yeah, like I got some issue with the colors. I guess somewhere here I should have blah blah blah. Let's put that. Okay, and yeah, okay, take that. I need to extract a component for that, huh? Right? Here we have the for each. So, tac. Any row index 0, 0 plus 1. Right. Okay. So good. So bad, so good. Not bad for a Monday. All right. So it's already time to end today's Juno. So I'm just gonna commit that as a fetch public document when app is ready. Okay. So yeah, it's really barebone, but yeah, we're getting there slowly. Maybe it's a bit difficult when I try to not style the UI and just do stuff. I hope it was fun. I hope you like the new features too. And yeah, see ya next week. Thanks for joining the call. Bye bye.